Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. I'm here today with what I'm calling a never-ending mini album. Of course there's an end to it. That's besides the point. But there's a lot of pages to go through. So it does seem maybe for a hot minute that it's never ending. But it's just a fantastic album, and it is one that you don't have to worry about chipboard, you don't have to worry about wrapping it. So if all of that seems a little bit intimidating or daunting right now, this is the perfect album to start with. It's cardstock. That's all it is. Cardstock, designer paper, stickers, whatever you want to use to decorize it. I was going to say decorate it or accessorize it. And that's, you get decorize. So it's just a really cool album. I've decided to use the Hockey Life paper from Photo Play. It was just begging for an album, so I figured it was a good use. So I created this. So I'm going to flip through it really quickly. Basically, the point of today's video is to go through the making of the base. Decorating it is all you. I will give you all the pieces, all the cuttings, the sizes, everything that you need. So when it comes time for you to make this, you'll be ready to go. So if I open it this way, I'm just going to stand for a minute to make sure that you're seeing it all. So you have your first flip out, or you can call it that. I've got two pockets here on either side. I just decorated it with some stickers. Obviously, I was able to use part of the designer paper because the rest of it's going to be hidden. So I figured, why waste the paper if you're going to cover it? It flips outwards one more time. And I'm going to just adjust that slightly so you can see it all. And then these two, there's actually two little pockets of sheets there. So let me move that down. And then these pages flip outwards. And as you can already see, there's a lot. There's a lot of real estate. So, you know, if you're looking to do maybe an album, like maybe a wedding album, a baby album for baby's first year, those kind of things are just so well suited for this album. And then we have one more page. I did want to mention with these diagonally cut pages, all of these are pockets, and I just put the journaling cards in there. So if you were looking to make this strictly a photo album, by all means, you can definitely do that and not do the diagonal thing. Everything can just be a combination of the designer paper, some solids, whatever you would like. And I just want to flip these out. So these also are all pockets, and these are our bottom, the very end. And I've got a pocket here and a pocket here. So as you can see, lots and lots of pages to fill. So these last flaps stay open, and that's how it folds up. Ta-da! It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I really, really, really love this. So I just wanted to show you the paper pack. The Hockey Life paper pack is a little bit of a smaller paper pack than your average. So instead of having the 12 sheets, you actually get 6 sheets of 12 by 12, and you do get a sticker sheet as well. So I just wanted to show you, just so you have an idea, this is what I had left over. So these were all cut at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So is this. So I have like a page and a half basically of 12 by 12. So I can use these for other projects. And certainly making the base, you do go through quite a few. You'll need 9 12 by 12 sheets of paper to make the base. But again, you do have leftovers. So if you're a card maker or scrapbooker, you never throw away your leftovers. So these will definitely go back into a pile, as well as the leftovers from the 12 by 12s, because there's quite a lot that you could easily make several cards. You could probably make another mini album if you wanted to. Not this particular one, but you could resize it if you wanted to, I suppose. And, you know, sort of do a second one if you wanted to. Okay, so first we're going to go through all of the paper sizes. I've gone with a different color, but hopefully it shows up fairly well in terms of the alignment and things. So we are going to start off. First, we have 2 pieces here, and these 2 pieces are cut at 6 by 7, and they're scored at the 6-inch mark, and I've burnished them already really well. You're going to need 4 pieces. All of these are also cut at 6 by 7, and these are scored at 6 and at 6.5, and that'll give you your little mini spine for when you're folding it all up. It gives a place for the pages to kind of tuck in nicely. And then the last thing you'll need is you'll need 12 pieces that are cut at 6 by 6.5, and these are scored at 6. And these ones will be packaging up in sets so that we can put together, excuse me, my tongue got twisted, in packages of 3. So you'll need 4 sets of 3, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So the first thing we're going to start off with is you're going to grab your 2 pieces that are 6 by 7 scored at 6, and we're basically going to overlap on they're going to create a spine with that 1 inch that we have created with the score mark. And I'm going to grab my score tape because this is an album. I really want it to be sturdy, and using the score tape as well as the liquid glue. I can't believe I was just about to put liquid glue on top of that. Liquid glue and the score tape will certainly give me the extra strength. Over time, the score tape will start to shrink, which is why you want to use a combination of the two. You can just use, oh my goodness. Today is not my day with liquid glue. It's been like that all day. Okay. So now I'm going to go across the score tape. And now when I'm overlapping and adhering this, I want to go just to the right, to my right of the score line. And this way there's nothing that's going to be impeding our folding or bending. Just want to make sure that that is nicely adhered, that we've got our glue all spread out. And if any of the glue kind of pokes out, that's not a big deal. A, the glue dries clear, but B, it's going to be covered mostly anyway, so nobody's going to notice. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we are going to grab our other pages, the 4 pages that are scored at 6 and at 6.5, and we are going to be placing them at the top for our flip ups and are at the sides for our flip outs. And yes, I just said that. Flip up and flip out. So what we're going to do for the top ones is the only place that we are going to be putting glue on is the first little tab. So this is it. That is all. We will not be placing glue, liquid or otherwise, anywhere else. And I am going to put some of the score tape down first. And this way, well, if I have a little bit overlapping, what I'll do is when I pull the adhesive backing off, I'll just flip that over so it's not a big deal. But because this is going to be holding on more like some of our pages, I do want to make sure that this is nicely secured to our base. So I'm going to put some of the liquid glue on top. Okay, I am going to flip this around because I didn't really need to flip it around. Really, it's facing me anyways. It's all the same. So I am aligning to the right and to the left. So it should be, I have glue all over my hands. Okay, so on this side, you're lining it up with the edge of your base, and it should line up pretty perfectly with the left side, which is the score line that we created, right? So when we created our spine, there was a bit of a score line there. So that will, as we add in our pages, it will add some bulk to that. So that will come and that will rest nicely right there. So we just want to make sure that we've got all that well adhered. I'll just take my bone folder and go over that once. Perfect. So we've got that side done. Now we're going to do this side. So again, I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to put a little bit of score tape on. Okay, this is not going down nice and straight. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to pull the adhesive backing off just like so. And then go back around with our glue. I absolutely love this album. There's just so much real estate for you to use, or even if you wanted to give the album, like I said, as like a gift. So if it was, let's say, a baby's first year, then there's a lot of pages. There are definitely 12. So you could easily have every page would be a month. And then the new parents could certainly fill that in as their little one grows. I feel like that's just the perfect opportunity. Or it could be, you know, if you gave it to a grandparent, they could certainly fill in the information or school pictures for any grandchildren. And, you know, certainly their name could go on the spine. That's also a fantastic idea. So the next thing that we're going to do now that we have our tops done is we're going to do our side. We got 2 more, so we're going to do the side panels. And like I said, we're just going to repeat the same thing. So if you guys decide to do this album, I would really, really, really love to see pictures. See what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're if there's an occasion that you're making it for. I have been pretty, I've been meaning to make a wedding album, and I have all of the paper, all of the beautiful designer paper, but I just haven't really come up with an idea. And every album that I make, I figure, oh, this is it, but this legitimately might be it. So I just feel like it's nice. It's not too big. It comes together really nice and quickly. So with this one, as you can see, I'm just again lining it up with the bottom with the score line here, and then with the side. So there's a few different things that you want to just keep your eye on, but because we're using a combination of the liquid glue as well as the score tape, you have enough time to, you know, finagle it, maneuver it to where it is that you would like it to be. Oh, I'm getting to the end of my score tape here. Not quite the end, but we've made many, many, many a project with the score tape. Okay, so once we have this down, I will quickly go through the pages and how those go in. Like I said before, there are going to be some packages. We're going to put them together in sets or packages of 3. So because we have like 4 panels, we're going to be putting those together in sets. So there we have it. This is basically what your base looks like, right? So these will fold down once you have it all full, and these will fold in, and there you go. Now, looks a little bit, you know, sometimes like it's caving in on itself. It's not really holding well, but that's because it doesn't have any pages inside quite yet. So once we get this all filled, it's going to look fantastic. It's going to look amazing. This is like definitely a wow gift if you were to give it to somebody. So I've gone ahead and I've already put together 2 of our packages, and this is what I meant. So I've got them all layered one on top of each other, and all the folds are here. You could certainly, and I did think about this, playing around with how these are put together, your packages. So the packages will be going on here. So they'll be going on the inside, and then they'll be going typically, well, what I had done before is they get adhered on this side, and then they get adhered right here, and then they all flip out the same way. If you wanted to, you could certainly alternate. So you could have your first one like this that would flip this way. Suppose you could also have one that flipped out. But I think I'm just going to continue on building my packages so that they all flip the same way, because I really love how that looks. The whole booklet look is quite fantastic. So I'll show you with these 2 how to put these together. I'm going to set this aside because I feel like my glue abilities today are a little lacking. I'm going to put score tape only, well, that was kind of the end of my score tape. So I am going to get some scissors just so that I can cut this off. And then I have some other score tape, but it's kind of on the border of being a little bit too thick. You know what? I'm just going to use a couple of strips. I have this 1/8 of an inch. If I can find the start, there we go. 1/8 of an inch score tape, which is itty bitty, I feel like, compared to that. So more backing to remove. Yay! Everybody loves removing the backing from these things. Okay, come on. I was just joking. Really, I need you to come off there. Okay. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Okay, I'm going to put that there. It's not supposed to, that's not the right size. Okay. I apologize. Okay, back it up. I'm putting it only on the bottom so that when we adhere it to the base, this way it's extra secure. These pages don't need to be quite as secure, so I'm just going to use liquid glue. So before I start making another mess, there we go. I apologize. It's been a little bit of a long week. So glad it's the weekend. I love crafting on the weekend. It's certainly my stress reliever. Okay, so we're going to fold this in. So I've got the glue on this side. We're folding it and we're aligning it up with the score line here. And what you could do, and what I normally do to make things a little bit easier, is you fold everything in, and that way you really do see all the way around, right? You can see that everything is nicely lined up. Oh, gotta make sure that we've got this well adhered. There. Okay, just grab my bone folder, make sure I go over that. The glue is nicely dispersed. And then we're going to repeat that with the top layer, which I think is this page. And we're going to do the same thing. So liquid glue. And then a little squiggle down the line. And by all means, if you feel better about having a layer of the score tape as well as liquid glue, by all means, that's not going to hurt anything. So it'll just, you know, it just makes it stronger. Oops. Okay, I'm just kind of shifting that over a little bit because that was a little bit off. And we're just going to rub that Make sure I've got good contact between the layers. I'm just checking inside, so if I do have any glue that's come out, that I can just wipe that off really quickly and not, so I'm not gluing my pages together. And so there's your booklet. That's how it looks, right? Okay, so we're gonna do this one more time. So we're putting some Scor tape down on the base. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this 1/8 and probably don't even really need 2 strips, to be quite honest, but it's down, so okay. So I'm going to fold that in. I'm going to burnish that again because I want it to lay as flat as possible. It's good to make sure in this album, it's good to make sure that all of your score lines are really well burnished. Take that extra time and make sure you go over it a few times. Okay, so we're going to fold that in, line it up with our other fold, move it around so that we have it all lined up to the left, to the right, the bottom, everything. Yep, that looks good. I have got glue all over my fingers now. Feel like it's not a day of crafting if I don't have glue on my fingers. All right, and then we have our last page. And then we'll be all set to put them in. It is, like I said at the beginning, if you find that using chipboard to make your album is a little bit daunting, maybe a little bit intimidating, really, really, really stress that this has none of that. It's paper. So, you know, this may look like chipboard, but it's certainly not. It's cardstock. So, you know, that is something you probably use all the time if you're a paper crafter. So this isn't anything special. Like the thickness is the same thickness as your typical, which is about 65 pound. And you don't really need to go any heavier with this particular album. And the reason why is once you add all of the layers, and the backs and fronts of all of these pages are going to be covered in some kind of cardstock, whether it's your designer paper, solid, what have you, it's just going to add to the strength. So you should be totally, totally fine using 65 pound. It's what I used, oops, the black paper that I used here in this album, this is 65 pound. It's, you know, not anything special or anything heavier. So by all means, you should be totally, totally fine. So now that I have my 4 packages together, all put together, right? The Scor tape on the bottom, I'm going to start putting them into my album. So placement is key here. So your first placement is going to be in here, I believe. Just double checking against my other album because, yep. All right, so your first package is going to go here. So I'm going to take off the Scor tape, the backing, making sure all that's off. Then I'm going to again add some glue. I'm going to go around and then through the middle. Okay. And then, so we're lining this up, not to the outer, but because we want to leave this as the spine, remember? So we're going to be lining this up with the first Scor line. If you have trouble seeing it, you can always pull this paper up, and this way you're not going to accidentally go over the Scor line. Because if you did that, then unfortunately, you're going to have some issues folding this up. So if you lift this side up, and hopefully you can see that. If you lift this side up while you're putting this down, of course, making sure that your bottom, your top, your sides are all fine, which they should be, because these will be, once your folding is done, these will be 6 by 6. So now I have basically perfect placement. I'm happy with it, at least. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shuffle this over a bit. We're going to take off the tape, add some glue, and then we're going to put it in, well, when I say the exact same spot, the opposite side though. That's the only thing. So again, we're putting this, we're lining this just before that score line, making sure that it's down, and I'm going to move that over just a touch. I'm making sure that it's not impeding the progress or, you know, stopping that from folding. See, using the liquid glue certainly does make things easier, because I've got all this time to kind of figure out my placement, and it's, you know, it's not going to be any less effective. So I'm going to push that down and just make sure really quickly that get rid of any glue. But again, all of this is going to be nicely covered. And so there we have, the bottom is done. See, all of those pages, all of the pages and pages. Ooh, wow. I didn't check that one. Yikes. I'm just going to go over that with my nail so I don't have gobs and gobs of it. All right, and then we're going to do the top pages. And the top pages, you're going to put your fold there so it's folding outwards, and the same thing is going to happen on this side, so we're folding outwards. And you can certainly customize this. You don't want to add too much in terms of, you know, bulk, because it already will be a pretty substantial album on its own without adding, you know, you can add chipboard pieces and stuff like that. That usually adds quite a bit of bulk. Same thing with like waterfalls are kind of one of my favorite things to add to albums, but you want to, excuse me, you want to avoid that in this instance. So I'm going to flip this around so that I can get my fold down and have the right, you know, perspective. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay, so we're gonna really push that down, which I have. I knew there was going to be some glue that comes seeping through the back, but that's fine. Like I said, all of this will be covered. Designer paper covers a multitude of sins. And by that, like, oopsies. And the other day, my wonderful dog decided to wander into my craft room as I was making, the Hockey Life mini album, and shook his head, and there was dog goober all over the place. So, needless to say, he got kicked out. He generally is pretty good when he comes in here. He'll just lie down. But all right. So I just replicated exactly what I did on the other side. And there we have it. So there is our mini album. So if you remember, all of these pages fold down, right? And there we have it. How cool is that? I mean, how many, so we've got these 2 pages that flip out, right? So that is great there. And then we have 6 at the top, double-sided, 6 at the bottom. So that is a ton of real estate. So I will have everything. I keep on wanting to flip these there. I will have everything that you need. I put some pockets in my original, so I will give you the sizes for if you were wanting to make pockets. Again, you can adjust the height. If you want a super deep pocket, you can just adjust it and add some inches to the top. If you like it the way it is, if you want to add, or if you want to reduce it and make it a really super shallow pocket, then you can certainly do that. So I will give you all the measurements for what I've used in the original Hockey Life Never Ending mini album. And so I will give you all the measurements for those. And like I said, if you decide that you are wanting to customize it, you certainly can. I really hope that you share, if you do decide to make this, I really hope that you share with me your project, your end result, and inspire everybody else to make the same. Or maybe you'll think of something that you've done that will inspire somebody else to make it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you like it. If you do, give me a big old thumbs up. Really appreciate that too. And if you don't want to miss any future videos, please make sure that you hit subscribe. Thank you so much again. Have a great day. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.